Hello, 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 hello. Yes, my mic is working. Hey guys, welcome to the Sandro podcast. So I am Oscar Sanderson, obviously. Sandro Linux. Hello, hello,
here
hello, hello. Today, talking about the tech news, of course, as we do every week. So why don't we get into it? Okay, so I'm gonna hit the record button in a minute. First, I will just have a quick sip of this water. So I hope all of you guys out there are having a good weekend so far. Of course, it's a Friday, so maybe you're off work, maybe you're, maybe you've just finished work, who knows? Yes, so, happy St. Patrick's Day for all the Irish viewers. Of course, you know, St. Patrick's Day is pretty important for the Irish. So, yeah, let's get started now. Yeah. So, hey guys, welcome to the Sandro Linux Community Podcast. It is the 15th of March, 2024. So, today we will be discussing a few different tech news stories. So, as always, we are going to start with the headline story, the story that I put in the title. So sadly, we do not have any co-host today, guys. Sadly, Piggis is not available for the podcast today. Hopefully, he'll be back next week. But for this podcast, he is sadly not able to attend. Now, talking about the first story here, guys. Google apparently is actually training an AI to play video games as a co-op companion. So, of course, we've seen game AIs in many different forms throughout the years, and now it's interesting to see Google actually venturing into this realm and actually making this a cooperative feature. So if you want somebody to play along with who, if you want an actual, somebody to play along with, then I suppose you could use this AI. So if you don't have anybody, any friends or anybody like that to play with at a specific time, then you could use this feature to play along. So, of course, it might still be a ways off from this actually being, implemented in games. However, right now, this is something that Google's DeepMind AI division have been working on. So it's only a matter of time until Google try and do something with this. However, we can't be sure what that will actually be. Because, of course, they might not actually bring this to games. This may just be a technology demonstration. However, you know, there is always the chance that they could bring this to publishers, to developers, and this could be a feature in future games. So they've tested it out with No Man's Sky, Valheim, Goat Simulator 3, Teardown, and Satisfactory. So of course they're not doing this with some of the big titles. So like, of course these are relatively big titles, but of course, you know, there's a lot of AAA games that aren't on here. So they're not testing this with like the FC series or any of the kind of other big AAA games. They're mainly doing it with stuff like No Man's Sky and Goat Simulator. I'm guessing that's just because of the developers of those games being more willing to give Google the ability to train their AI on these games. So maybe those publishers are more willing to work with Google. But of course, that's something that would be very much something that Google would deal with. Now, moving on to an AI story here. So another one, but this is a bit of a different one here. Not gaming related this time. It is actually just to do with general AI. So Copilot has been quite a big AI player for quite a while now, and now they are actually coming in with a pro tier, so you can now actually pay for the AI, Copilot. However, of course, there's still the free tier, so don't worry, you can still use it for free. However, you do get that option if you are willing to pay to get some of these additional features. And now they're adding some more. So there's quite a major upgrade coming here. So apparently now you can let me see. So apparently now you can I'm actually confused about what the upgrade is here, because the thing is they say there's a big upgrade with the Pro tier, and yeah, I saw the upgrade, but I guess, okay, so now people on 365 personal or family can access the tools online. So, yeah, I suppose that is a good feature for Copilot. However, I don't really think that is, a specific feature. They're mainly just saying more features in general. And I suppose also that was for the previous story, not this story. That would be a bit of a random comment for Copilot Pro. No, but yeah, so I think that this is, a positive move for Microsoft trying to add more features to their AI to compete with OpenAI on the AI front. However, of course, there is still quite a lot of catching up to do by Microsoft. There's a lot of extendability in the OpenAI Premium kind of feature set. So, of course, you can get stuff like the ChatGPT marketplace and all that extendability, which just currently isn't as much of a thing with Microsoft's AI offerings. And of course, fundamentally, Microsoft's AI stuff is based on the extendability on OpenAI's technology, so really they can't go too far away from that unless they want to actually make their own proper, LLM. However, for now, they're just repackaging a lot of OpenAI's technology and using their technology because Microsoft is a major stakeholder in OpenAI, so they get that ability to take advantage of their technology. Now, moving on to non-AI related news here. So, Apple is assembling the 6.1-inch iPhone 15 in Brazil. So China is still where pretty much all of their devices are made. There were some attempts to make some stuff in India. I think there is still some stuff being made in India. However, there were some problems in India. I remember there was a big controversy to do with the factory and poor working conditions. And I think, that factory ended up with some worker protest. And apparently they're now moving to India, they're now moving to Brazil to try and manufacture some of these iPhones. So, of course, it is the almighty Foxconn. They make they seem to assemble all of the iPhones pretty much. So they are a very major assembler of iPhones. Apple hand out a lot of contracts to Foxconn, and they have done for, pretty much a decade and even more now. So, of course, it makes sense for them to diversify where they are actually making their phones. And, of course, Brazil might be a easier place to export their phones from compared to China, because I imagine exporting stuff from Brazil to America may be easier than from China to the US, especially with increased trade restrictions and all of the geopolitical stuff. With Brazil being a lot less of a contentious nation. So, this doesn't really mean much for the end consumer right now. However, this does mean some stuff for, I suppose, the manufacturing of iPhones. So, hey, maybe if you get one of these iPhones, you might get one made in Brazil now. So, moving on to the next story here, guys. So, Vision OS code apparently suggests that the Apple Vision Pro may be available in some more countries soon. So, apparently, right now it is only available in the US, but there is now, apparently they've added English for the UK, Canada, Singapore, Japan, and Australia. For some reason, 9to5Mac have put Canada twice. Oh no, excuse me, I read that wrong. It is actually French, because, of course, Canada is a bilingual nation, so they do have English and French options for the Canadians. So sorry, Quebecers. I nearly forgot about you guys. Only joking. I just misread the languages here. So, of course, this does suggest that potentially there could be some launches going on in some of these Anglosphere markets, as well as the French market, and, the German market, the Japanese market, the Korean market, and potentially China, and, yeah. So, yeah, this could be cool to see the Vision Pro coming to more countries. However, this isn't, of course, set in stone. This could just be a preliminary measure just before they actually try and launch the thing. Maybe it is further in the future than we think, and they've just managed to translate the stuff now. Of course, somebody might want French if they're living in the US, who knows, but of course, it's nice to see more language support, and this could suggest that there could be more countries getting the Vision Pro soon. Personally, I'm not going to be spending $3,000 or £3,000 on a headset, but, be my guest if you want to spend that amount on a VR. Now, or an AR headset. So why don't we talk about another Vision Pro story? So it seems to be all about the Vision Pro in the Apple kind of ecosystem right now. So apparently the popular media player, which is open source, VLC, known for decades at this point for being a very reliable media player, has confirmed that Apple Vision Pro, a app for the Apple Vision Pro, will now be coming to the device. And they've not specified an exact time frame, but they have announced that they are working on this app, and they don't really see a use case for it, apparently, but they do already have a version of the app working on the Vision Pro. Now, moving on to the next story here. So, Android, the Beeper apparently Beeper is now back on Android, so it's got a fresh new look. However, it doesn't have the one feature that a lot of people were looking for. It does not have that iMessage support. Apple did eventually beat them in that battle. Beeper put up a fight for a bit. There was a bit of a back and forth between the two. Basically, Beeper was trying to find new ways of giving their users iMessage support, but of course, Apple were fixing these exploits and fixing these loopholes, and now Beeper seems to have given up on this, and they just appear to want to be an alternative to the likes of WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal. So yeah, this isn't really what a lot of people would be looking for. However, it is a very clean looking application, so potentially it could go based on those. This could become more popular based on those merits and not based on this iMessage support. That perhaps the initial popularity may carry over, but we can't exactly be sure. Of course, guys, if you do want to comment on today's stories, please do leave your comments down below. I do know that there was a small problem with these small gaps with the screen, and yeah, there's a small little problem with the resolution today. However, it's not too bad, so hopefully you guys, have a decent viewing experience today. Hopefully that little black border at the top is not too annoying. Sorry about that technical issue. Anyway, the show must go on, so why don't we cover the next story here. So the PSVR support for PC might be coming soon. So PSVR 2 is, of course, Sony's latest effort at VR. So it's quite a popular VR headset, and apparently they're already bringing along the VR 2 to the PC. So of course, not that, so some people aren't buying this headset, and this is a nice change of direction for Sony. But of course, for those existing users, this will be a great feature. But if you are on PC, maybe this could be a future option for you. Perhaps you could, evaluate the Sony option. Anyway, moving on here to the broadband and cellular news. So STC Bahrain has apparently launched facial recognition for eSIM activation. So of course Bahrain is a Middle Eastern country, so of course it has a different style of government. It has a more authoritarian government overall. And yeah, of course, they are implementing this AI facial recognition for eSIM activation. And this is, of course, going to kind of draw criticism from civil rights groups. I mean, this is, it's going to limit the amount of people who can use eSIM activation if they don't want the state surveilling them. However, apparently, you're now required to do this in Bahrain. So apparently this is a new telecoms regulation. But I'm not really sure what these guidelines say. I'm not an expert on the law of Bahrain. But apparently they did recently issue some guidelines for the facial recognition technology in Bahrain for identifying users. And there is apparently an easy opt-out for this. So in fact, it's not even a government initiative here. It is just a thing that this certain cellular provider is doing. So sorry about that. I did not mean to throw any sort of shade there. That is not actually really attributed to the government here. At least not from my reading of this article. So, of course, AI facial recognition, some people would like to be able to do that to activate their eSIM. However, of course, for others, they would say it's a bit of a civil rights issue and a privacy issue in general. If you have your facial recognition data linked to your SIM, and you also have your identity linked to your SIM, people could criticize that. for being a privacy, an invasion of people's privacy. However, this is currently a thing that STC Bahrain has decided to do. I don't know if other countries will follow suit here, other companies will follow suit. We'll just have to wait and see whether this comes to a country near you. Now, on to some more light-hearted news here, guys, for our audience in the UK. I'm in the UK, of course, and this is a pretty good deal from giffgaff. Free pizza to people in the UK hit by mid-contract price rises. So, apparently they're saying, sorry about, the fact that every single company raises their contracts that raises their prices mid-contract, and they have promised to raise. They promised not to raise their prices mid-contract, and of course, to capitalize on this, they have decided to go ahead and actually make this little promotion here. So they're offering free pizzas across the UK via Deliveroo today. So if you are in the UK, capitalize on that, guys. If you're watching this, guys, maybe I just got you a free pizza promotion. I don't know if I don't know if you can take advantage of this promotion, but if you can, please do, because of course, free pizza on Deliveroo, it sounds like a pretty good deal to me. So, apparently the operator, this is a part of it's the least we could do. It's the least we could do. And of course the editor here of this article has decided to say, the yeast in bread. Not the infection, we presume. Yeah, I hope it's not the infection, because, of course, you don't want a yeast infection. You probably want free pizza. I mean, yeah, anyway, that's a bit random, but, of course, there's all these promotions that different mobile networks go in with. However, this is a pretty attractive one from giffgaff. It's more kind of characteristic of something that a company like, for example, Voxy would do. Voxy have been known to do stuff like that in the past. But of course, this is a promotion here by by giffgaff here. So of course, this is pretty good for those in the UK. Now, even more good news, especially if you're a customer call center worker, especially if you work for Sputsu. They have pledged in the UK not to use AI chatbots. This, of course, does not affect the international markets of this firm. So, they do actually have other. This mobile network is available in other countries, such as Austria. I think they're based out of Austria, if I'm correct. Let me just check that quickly. Yeah, I think they're based in Austria. Yeah, Vienna is apparently the headquarters. So they are based in Austria, so this is only their UK division pledging to do this here. But they are saying that they will not use AI chatbots, and they will use human customer service agents. So of course this is a positive for customers, this is a positive for employees of this company. So, increased job security, I suppose, for them. And, of course, a good thing for the customers, because if they need support, they can actually receive it from an actual human instead of an AI chatbot. So apparently Voxy, according to this article, introduced a ChatGPT-based AI chatbot to increase its customer service. And yeah, of course, not everybody's going to be a fan of that. It might come up with some default responses. Of course, you kind of like to deal with a human one-to-one. you kind of prefer, it's often preferred to have that actual human on the other end who can deal with your complaint or your query and not actually just refer to documentation, but actually be able to deal with it themselves. So, of course, this is a negative for Voxy customers, but this is a positive for the smaller network provider. I've never tried that network provider, and I think I probably will soon, because I heard a lot of good stuff about it. So, Virgin Media O2 is apparently helping, so the merged company VM02 is apparently helping UK gamers trade in unwanted consoles for cash. So, apparently this includes consoles by Sony, Microsoft, Meta, and Nintendo. So this accepts MacBooks as well as other technological devices. And yeah, these aren't always the best prices that you could get for your devices, so only up to £283 for a PlayStation 5. And of course, these are not the best prices that you could get for your devices if you sell them on the market, on like eBay, or maybe even to CEX. You might be able to get a better deal. However, of course, this is an easy option for getting rid of your devices, and this will probably make Virgin Media O2 a lot of money if they can sell off these devices for more than they get them for. So, of course, if you're going to throw it out anyway, you may as well just trade it in to Virgin Media O2. However, of course, if you have a PlayStation 5 or Nintendo Switch OLED or a Xbox Series X, these are not consoles that you just throw away into the garbage for no reason. If it's currently functioning, which they would have to be if you were going to trade these in. So, of course, unless you're trying to get it done in a bit of a hurry, then, you don't really want to be relying on a program like this. However, of course, there is a use case for this, I suppose, for people trying to do it in a jiffy. But, of course, you could probably get a better deal elsewhere. Now, Microsoft, moving on to desktop news here, Microsoft is apparently putting pop-up ads into Google Chrome. When can Microsoft learn just to leave other companies' products alone? So previously, they constantly attack Google like this. It just doesn't work. So, of course, in Bing itself, they try to move people to Edge. They advertised Edge within the search. So when you searched up Chrome, it would actually come up with the advantages of using Edge. And I don't think that really helped their market share too much. It just made them look like a bit of a spammy company. And now it appears that Microsoft is back for even more with this new pop-up that might appear in Chrome to help people switch to Bing. Of course, the majority of people don't actually want to, and they might just accidentally click yes on this prompt and they might end up with Bing as a default search engine and just wonder what the hell happened. Now, of course, that's not always going to be what people wanted, and it does remind me of the toolbars and the browser redirects of the 2000s, back when there used to be this kind of somewhat spammy software that used to be bundled in with useful programs on downloading sites, such as download.com, which basically, installed stuff like ask.com toolbars. So, of course, Ask Jeeves was quite a big search engine at one time. However, that era is long gone, and now apparently they're trying to employ similar tactics to try and get people to switch to Bing, and it didn't really work that well back then, and I don't think this will work now. However, we'll just have to wait and see. If Bing suddenly overnight becomes the most popular search engine, just based purely on this, then of course you can say I was horribly wrong and misguided. But I'll hold my breath, and yeah. I won't be holding my breath. I don't think it's really gonna happen. But yeah, I don't think this will be successful. But we never know, I suppose. So, Walmart resurrects the M1 MacBook Air as an entry-level $699 laptop. Now, this is very compelling. So, of course, the next article we're going on to is also some US-based sales. And this is pretty good for Walmart. This is a good deal if you wanted a cheaper laptop and you wanted something on the Apple platform. Of course, it's getting a bit older now. Excuse me. But it still rocks one of those M-series chips, which of course are a vast improvement on the Intel line. And now at $699, it is a bit of a steal. So yeah, this is a pretty nice deal if you're willing to buy a slightly older MacBook and accept the fact that you'll get a few less years of software support. And of course, with Windows not really properly supporting the M1 system, you won't actually be able to really move to much after macOS drops support for this device, so that is something to bear in mind. That is unless you want to run Linux off some sort of external hard drive. That's not for everybody, but of course that could be an option. Now, moving on to the St. Patrick's Day deals. So St. Patrick's Day, of course, a beloved festival of the Irish. And apparently, even if you're in the US, you can celebrate with some deals here. So, with the Irish ancestry of the US, they can still, see the opportunity to sell people products here. Of course, this is the US, I suppose. There's always the opportunity to make these kind of sales. But of course, they're going to take advantage of this holiday in Ireland here for some US sales here. And there are some pretty good deals on here. I mean, if you wanted to buy this iPad, this 9th generation iPad, it is it's $80 off. $80 off. But the deal that really caught my eye, the one that I thought this is something that viewers should know about, because it's a good deal. It is $300 off the XPS 13 laptop. So now it's going for $699 US. So that is a pretty good deal for the laptop, which is one of the best Windows laptops out there right now. So that's a bit of a deal for those in the US. Now, for our non-US based viewers here, we can discuss other stuff in the future. I thought I had another story here. I was looking through my notes. Did I miss something? Here, guys? Please tell me if you see something in these notes and you're like, he didn't mention that. But for now, guys, thank you again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and share. You can check me out on all of the platforms that I'm on, that I show off on my website, sandrolinux.com. Make sure to check out that website. More stuff will be coming to it in the future. I hope to do stuff on it during the Easter holidays. So make sure to Make sure to take a look at that over Easter. So perhaps on Easter Sunday, you might see some special content on my channel. You know, I'll be bringing out some stuff, guys, so please make sure to check it out when it comes out. But for now, guys, thank you again for watching. You can check out my website as well as the Discord server, sandrolinux.com/discord, as well as my X account and my Mastodon account. And I am also now on Blue Sky. Some people don't know that. And it's a pretty cool platform, to be honest. I'm definitely a bit of a fan of it now. It is pretty cool. And, of course, Mastodon, I've been a long time kind of fan of that, because I really like the federated technology. And it's a pretty cool concept like that. And yeah, guys, thank you once again for watching, and goodbye.